Well, welcome to this week's RC Shop Time video with lots of RC upgrades, speed mods and RC restorations, and yours truly having created quite possibly the fastest RC car that I have ever built, including a short demo at the end of this video. Okay, my fellow Driftomaniacs, it's the weekend, so it's got to be time for Richie's weekend workshop. Quite a lot going on this week. A couple of fixes on cars, but you actually need a hand and a bit of advice from you guys on there. So I'll be asking a couple of questions on a couple of these cars as we go along. Quite a few mods and upgrades, and in fact one in particular has caused one car to be modified, then the other, then the other, then the other. So we're going to go from A to B to C to D to goodness knows where on there, guys. And in this video I'm going to show you the before and the after of the upgrades and the mods that I'm doing as we go along. Well, first up I'm going to talk about the Armour Notorious and a little bit of a speed issue that I need your advice on, guys. And the final fix that I've got in mind to sort out that Traxxas Rally rear wing, of which you shall see that fixed during this video. Then I'm going to talk you through why all is not entirely well with the Castle XLX setup on this car. Your advice is going to be needed on this one, guys. And then I'm going to talk you through why that Losi XLE ESC upgrade is also going to mean the Typhon 6S V4 is also going to get an upgrade, and then what the Armour Typhon 6S ESC upgrade means for my Traxxas Fortec 2.0 VXL speedrun car, which also has a nice new speedrun body in there. So I want to talk through the paint scheme I've got in mind for that with you, and why I might have to change the tyres on the car to fit this body shell. I'm going to talk about where I'm up to with my Well Willy restoration, and also how close am I to getting the Sen Racing MG16 running again. That's about the same size as Well Willy, guys, with nitro power. Well, first up, guys, is the Armour Notorious 6S speed problem. That is because the other day when I took it down to JJ Customs was only hitting 38 miles an hour. Should be hitting 50 on 6S with the stock gearing. Anybody got any ideas as to why that is peaking out at just 38 miles an hour? Now, I did the endpoints on the ESC, so all should be well, so we should be up there at 50 miles an hour. The only thing I can think of is I had the throttle rate turned right up when I set the endpoints. Do I turn it right down, guys, and reset the endpoints, see if that makes a difference? Anybody got any ideas on that? Post away, because I want to know a solution to that fairly fast, guys. And if anyone doesn't believe me on that 38 miles an hour, do check out this clip.
Here.
38, yeah, it didn't feel that quick. But I do believe it's got 50 in it, so I think it must be something on the setup of the SC, transmitter, etc. For that Traxxas Rally rear wing, one of the things that I looked at doing was cutting a piece of metal. This is only fairly thin aluminum on here, and using that behind the screws. But then what I've come up with is to use these servo washers, which I used in my e-Revo when they bodywork bust on that, in order to spread some of the load out on the back of the car. So fingers crossed this works alright. 2 more to do and we shall see. Relatively nice, easy fix, and my Traxxas Rally ring is not going anywhere in a hurry. Okay, guys, now down to the speed upgrade that's going to result in me going from A to B to C to D. All will become apparent in a minute. Fit the Newcastle XLX ESC on here. A little bit of tweaking to do, like it goes faster in reverse at the minute than it does going forwards, so obviously you need to swap the motor wires around on there. But besides that, the problem I've got though, if you look at the pinion gear there, it's out of line with the spur. That's because every time I set the mesh on the thing and just apply a bit of throttle, that pinion gear kicks backwards on the shaft out of the way. The grub screws got Loctite on it, but I do not seem to know what the problem is. Nothing seems out of balance. So as I say, I might need your help on this one, guys. Anybody that has a similar problem as to what could be causing that, I would love to know. But that meant that I had a spare 8S ESC from the Losi DB-XLE, like the one in question sat here, which I could then use to fit an 8S setup in my Armour Typhon speedrun car. I'm going to keep the original Armour motor in here, but fit that 8S ESC in here and take the 6S one out of that. More on that in a minute. As I say, we're going to go from A to B to C with these ESC guys. So this one is like going from A to B. Now, anybody worried about those motors on there thinking you can't put 8S through that, Rich? Marvin runs these motors on all of his cars, guys. They seem to handle 8S with absolute ease. Main problem is the connectors on here. I think these are like 5.5mm bullet points, and this motor used to plug straight into this ESC, whereas the Armour motor kind of meets the ESC halfway, so you've got a join here that leads from the motor, don't plug straight into the ESC, and vice versa on there. So gonna have to make up some new adapter leads. I've got some 10 gauge cable and some Castle 6.5mm connectors on there, thus enabling me to connect this ESC to that motor. But I'm going to replace all of these at the same time so that I can simply plug and play, put this back on, and the leads will fit. So I'm replacing all of those with the 6.5mm ones as well, so I'll be able to use it with this ESC or this ESC moving forwards. Okay, got my new 6.5mm bullets on the motor. So I've now got the 8S ESC wired in, power going to the receiver, motor connectors all ready, and I've got my leads measured up to length and made to size, all ready to wire up. So guys, got my two Avonic 4S packs in there. Wiring will need a little bit of tidying up, got to finish the connectors off as I say, but just wondering if that stop buddy will fit on, but let's see. Well guys, it's a little bit up in the air on one side, but not much. All three clips are on, and that's the body on that side. That's it from the front. That's not too far off. I could give it a go with that, guys. Now there's a thought. So guys, before the end of this video, I am going to do a quick run with this car, but it's coming up on 11 o'clock at night, so I need to get some heat shrink in the morning before finishing this car up. But as I said, that's A into B, so now it's time to see B go into C. Anyway guys, I did promise you in this video you would see the Armour Typhon running on 8S. Very little scares me in terms of driving RC cars. This thing now, absolutely terrifying. So stay with us because there's a video coming up of this towards the end of this video. And as ever guys, if you like this stuff, don't forget to subscribe. My Traxxas Vortec 2.0 speedrun car here, already has a Castle Sidewinder 8 in here, which is 6S capable, but I've not been entirely happy with the performance with it in testing. It accelerates like a rocket, but it doesn't kind of quite seem to have that top end as yet. Yet this motor's got more than enough grunt to turn quite substantial gearing this car has got, so I'm thinking it's maybe the ESC that's holding it back a bit. So I'm thinking something a little bit more substantial, like the Armour 6S ESC, might do the job. And the good thing being is these connectors are 6.5mm. Now do we see the method to the madness, guys? Because on the Armour ESC I've gone and retrofitted the 6.5 plugs to this as well, meaning that I can use it with the Armour Typhon in its original form if I want to run it on 6S, but I can also run it on this car without any mods to it. Nice and simple, all the connectors being the same. Anyway guys, it shouldn't take me too long to fit the Armour 6S ESC to replace the Sidewinder 8 one, because the holes look to be pretty much the same position, but I do need to undo that metal guard from underneath to get access to the two nuts. But at the same time, I'm going to use the opportunity to fit an even larger Pinion gear to the car. And only about 4 or 5 minutes work to swap over the ESC, so put the heat shrink on the leads and that's ready to roll as well. Now guys, did mention I'd got a new speedrun body for the Vortec. Colour scheme, I'm going to use the orange and blue Golf Racing colours on it again, but do let me know your thoughts on it guys. I also mentioned the tyres. That is because well, the Vortec's got 45mm foams on the back at the minute and 30mm foams on the front. In order to fit it under this body, I'm going to have to put 26mm foams on the front and 30mm foams on the rear, so I'm going to get those on order today. And I did mention I'd show you how I'm getting on with my Tamiya Wild Willy rebuild. Well, I've taken all of the wheels off. They were sprayed silver, but the original ones on the car were white. I mean, I only found out by looking on one of the websites on it. Just by accident, I noticed when I was spraying one of them to clean them, I happened to spray it with nitro force, and the silver paint started to come off. So I thought, oh, use a lot of it, Richie, and I managed to blast them back to pretty much the original white condition. So I'm now going to spray them all white, much easier than trying to paint each one individually. Now, original spares for this car are hard to come by, so the springs, they've got the rust on them there, and the tie rod end there, I've got something here called Loctite Rust Dissolver, hence the rubber gloves, as I have a feeling that's going to be quite messy to put on. So I'm going to put that on the rusty springs. Well, I'm going to take them off, put it on the rusty springs, rusty track rod end, and see if that removes the rust from there. electric wise, old school or what, guys, when it comes to electrics, this radio receiver has got a crystal in here, so I'm going to have to replace that entire receiver, because I probably could find a transmitter that's got a crystal one in there, but it makes more sense to replace it with a more modern setup. Looking at the servos, they could just do with a pretty good clean. Now, there are 2 servos in there, guys. You going, what's the other servo for, Rich? No ASC back in the days when this was built in the early 80s, guys. One servo is for steering, one servo is for controlling a mechanical ESC. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will have spotted this damage. This resistor is actually essential to running the ESC, and it's not the kind of thing that Tammy will sell anymore. However, on eBay, I did luckily manage to find the resistor blocks for it, so that was a bit of a result. So, boys and girls, that is moving on slowly but surely. Well, I've got 4 new tyres for it because one of the old ones was shot to pieces. I'm actually inclined to keep the old ones on the car because they're not in too bad condition, and I kind of want that thing partly to look restored, but show its age as well, if you know what I mean, guys. The one thing I have got on order from eBay as well is a full set of stainless steel screws for the car. And my next job is to start taking it apart section by section and giving it a good clean up, check everything's working or what's working and what isn't working. What I have found, I can't do it right now without 2 hands, is hold the other motor axle, hold this one, turn it, and you can hear all the gears moving absolutely fine in that. It feels perfectly smooth, which is a bit of a result on there, as you never know when you're buying these things from eBay. So, well, Willie, we'll ride again shortly. I am doing it a little bit every night on this, otherwise it's never going to be finished. And lastly, but by no means least, is my Sen Racing MG16 Nitro car. It's about the same size as Wild Willie, but with a nitro engine on there. Now, I have, during the week, guys, got it to turn over and fire up just a couple of pop-ups, but that's enough to give me hope that this is not that far off running. As promised, guys, I'm going to take the Armour Typhon 8S outside for a quick test run around the yard in just a second. And I have to say, guys, there's very little that scares me about RC cars, this thing is absolutely terrifying. Wait till it arms itself on the bench, holding on just in case of any mishaps. Not bad, eh? Absolutely terrifying. Anyway, let's see what it does in the yard. Although I think that might be a little bit on the small side. Now I have to say, guys, I am slightly nervous to say the least on this thing. I just want to check it to start with, check the brakes were right. Yeah. Might need to turn the brakes up a bit because it's still set on what the Loty was on. I think it might be a case of needing to feed the power in it very, very gradually there, guys. Jesus. It's spinning all 4 wheels. Initial thoughts are, hey, it's going to take quite a distance to feed that power in. This is not the best of grip surfaces and it's a little bit wet, but it's like driving with a stick of dynamite attached to your finger there, boys. I think we can safely say by those marks along the driveway, the Typhon on the 8S, when I've been practicing off camera, has got more and a little bit of excess power. And for that very reason, guys, before I bust anything on it, I'm not going to go very much further with it in the driveway. I just wanted to show you just how brutal the thing is on 8S. A little bit of tweaking on the chassis setup, the shocks, the springs, etc. on there, maybe to improve that handling a little bit. It's not going to be the kind of car where you can just pull the thing on full throttle. If anything, I'm going to decrease the punch level down because I have a feeling I've let it set up higher from a Loty XLE. But this thing should be absolutely monstrous when it comes to speed runs on there, particularly the new spool bit. I think we can safely say the Armour Typhon 8S has a terrifyingly large amount of power. Motor temp, put the gun on it straight afterwards, 81 degrees, not bad at all. I was thinking it might skyrocket up. 81 degrees, not bad at all there to my mind, guys. I've tweaked the settings on it. It was on punch level 3 out of 5. I've taken that down to 2, so I'm still wondering if that's too much, because that car that it came out of weighs 33 pounds. This one weighs about 10 or 11 on there, so it's maybe even better. I think I've even taught myself down to dialing the punch level down to 1 after this video, because you don't need it for that hard launch on speed runs. If anything, you want the power feeding in so you can build up that speed nice and gradually on there, guys. Anyway, speaking of speed runs, I'm going to find a nice, very long spot as soon as I can to test this car. I'm sure you won't want to miss that video, guys. I haven't seen its potential there outside because based on that short performance around the yard, the thing is an absolute animal. Anyway, guys, I've covered a lot in this video, so any comments or questions you might have, then do ask away. And if you don't want to miss this thing doing its speedrun things and the Fortec with its new success doing its speedrun thing, then don't forget to subscribe. Well, thumbs up if you like this video, guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.